joint think tank has been working for years on the development of the Arctic sea lanes called the Arctic Bridge. This model ship is a prototype for a new generation of freighters.
What effect does this have on its ice-breaking capability? Move the flows. What's different?
The test in the ice model basin proved a success for the designers. The freighter moves safely through the ice and swiftly in the open sea.
Climate change has given new impetus to ideas we've been working on for a long time now for opening a northern sea lane to shipments of oil and gas from the Arctic. And the route is 30 to 40% shorter for transit from Europe to the Far East. Global warming has resulted in a route that's considerably shorter, cheaper, and more efficient. And of course, that makes it more attractive to shipping companies and to industry in general.
The Northeast Passage leads from the Barents Sea along Siberia's northern coast to the Bering Strait between Russia and Alaska. From there, ships may continue on to China, Japan, or the west coast of North and South America. It's the shortest route to the Pacific from Europe. Jochen Schwartz is participating in another project aimed at predicting sea ice conditions in the Arctic. The idea is for a satellite to plot the movements of major ice fields, including the locations of cracks and gaps. This would let ships determine the best sea route several days in advance.
Ice fields cover vast areas. We can't just sail around them in half an hour like you would a traffic jam in the city. Once you've embarked on the northern route, you have to know very far in advance where it's ice-free and where you'll be able to get through. Because if it closes again in a couple of hours, you have to double back the whole way.
The eye in the sky helps skippers to plot the optimal course due east through the ice, reducing both costs and risk. That's much shorter and more economical than the route through the Suez Canal in the Indian Ocean. The Northeast Passage leads through the Bering Strait into the Bering Sea between Siberia and Alaska. Vitus Bering was the Danish-born explorer who first charted the Alaskan and Siberian coasts on expeditions for the Russian Tsars in the early 1700s. He died of scurvy, to be buried on an island that also now bears his name. The Yamal has only a few more kilometers to go to reach the geographic North Pole. The GPS navigation system has to show precisely 90 degrees latitude, indicator of the pole's exact location in the continually shifting ice. As such, it's a prime trophy for the photo-hunting tourists on board. After several passes, the ship arrives at its destination.
You have to maneuver the navigator's seat right over the pole, as if you were trying to park right on top of a matchbox. We have to move the icebreaker so our antenna in here is within a radius of 1.8 meters of the pole.
Easy, easy. Don't rush it. Slower, slower. Dead stop.
54. Now 36 meters to the pole.
For now, anyway, those who can say they've been to the North Pole still number among a select intrepid few, even if technically they did do it as tourists. It's still an achievement to celebrate. The North Pole is no longer a safe place. Security guards stand watch to keep uninvited guests at bay. Passengers have brought the flags of their home countries and cities from all over the world to mark their personal conquest of the North Pole and to pose for a souvenir snapshot. Under international law, no country may claim the North Pole as its own. Even so, 4,000 meters below this spot on the Arctic seabed stands the Russian flag, put there in summer 2007 to underscore Russia's interest in the region.
That was a symbolic gesture meant to raise the country's self-esteem and show that the Arctic is of interest to the world economic powers. Along the continental shelves and in the Barents Sea, in particular, they've discovered lots of oil deposits. So these ownership claims have gained a new meaning. Everyone's trying to get a piece of the pie for themselves.
Taking an icy dip in the Arctic Sea has become a sort of ritual baptism for conquerors of the pole. Fossils recovered from the seabed under the ice indicate that some 55 million years ago, the water at this spot would have been a pleasantly warm 20 degrees Celsius. It was a nice era for a swim. The travelers dance around the world in 80 seconds. Should global warming continue at the current rate, a midsummer's dance around the pole will soon be a thing of the past. Experts are predicting an Arctic free of ice during the summer months, before the end of this century.